I just finished restoring this epic IBM PS2 Model 95 XP, and today we're going to find out if it can be overclocked. Okay, let's start with some benchmarks. As expected, we've got a 486SX running at 25 MHz. Let's run some Doom and see what score we get. It's a bit of a slideshow, as expected, but hopefully we can do something about this. We've got an embarrassing score of 10.28. Well, that's what this video is all about, so let's see if we can improve this. We have already restored this IBM in a previous video. I'll put a link at the end of this video if you want to watch it later. Now let's get inside the mighty IBM Model 95 XP. One interesting quirk about this machine is that it doesn't have the CPU installed on the motherboard. Instead, it's on a separate CPU complex that can be removed from the system. The CPU complex has a 486SX25 installed in this socket here. And then it has an extra socket for what I think was a 487SX, because it has an extra pin in the corner here. I don't have a 487SX, but the interesting thing about that math code is that it's actually a regular 486DX, just with an extra pin. And when installed in the socket, it will disable the onboard 486SX. So this looks very overclockable to me. The first thing I want to try out is to install an Overdrive. So this is just a regular DX4 ODPR100. But there were actually two types of this Overdrive. There was also the ODP, and the only difference is that this guy here has an extra pin that will line up with this hole here and presumably disable the onboard CPU. Now, since it's removable, I don't think we need to use the ODP. We can probably go with a regular ODPR. If you need one of these and don't have one, there is a simple hack you can do to the socket, just by adding a short wire underneath here. And that wire will disable the onboard SX. I have shown that hack in one of my previous videos about the IBM PS1 486. So you can check that video if you need instructions. Well, since the CPU is in a socket, we might as well just remove it. Oh, that's interesting. I have completely forgotten about this. But apparently this socket too has this notch. And apparently I have marked it. And then I forgot about it. Well, in that case, I'm not sure which socket we should go with. Perhaps it doesn't even matter. Well, in that case, I'm gonna start with the first test by installing a regular DX4 ODPR100 in the same socket as it had the 486SX. Okay, everything hooked up. Let's see if this machine will boot with the ODPR installed. So the 95XP has a display here that will show the checkpoints while it's posting. I can hear the hard drive and all the fans, but nothing on the display yet. And it's stuck at checkpoint 40. Okay, so that was a fail. Let's try something else. Okay, I removed the ODPR and did a reboot. I don't know if you noticed, but it did change the checkpoints. Now it's at 52. Now it started to count up the RAM, but that was like half a minute. Well, it is a bit slow to post, but I don't remember it being quite this slow. Okay, I reinstalled the ODPR, and now armed with some patience, let's try that again. Oh wow, it really is that slow. So after roughly 1 minute, we have an error. I'm gonna have to Google this one. Okay, thanks to Ardent, we know that the IML record is incompatible with processor board. So that basically means we need a different reference disk. But the problem is there is no CPU complex running a DX4. Well, in that case, let's move it to the Mathco socket and see how it behaves. Okay, we've got a cursor after half a minute, and unfortunately the same error. So we need to try something else. I just realized perhaps we just need to run ref disk. The complex we have is called the Type 2. So that's the ref disk I'm going to use. And by the way, there are different reference disks depending on what CPU complex you use. So let's give this a try. Okay, it reads the disk. And we have a cursor. And still the same error, unfortunately. So it won't read the ref disk. Okay, I went through my stash. And I found a DX266 Overdrive. Let's give that a try. Might as well keep that ref disk in the drive. Okay, it's counting up the RAM. and we've got a new error. So we're making progress. We've got a 169 and 174, and the machine actually boots. Okay, interesting. This error appears if you have changed your processor card. You must automatically configure the system. Okay, of course we will. But we haven't changed the processor card, but we definitely changed the CPU. And we are going to replace that noisy hard drive, hopefully in this video too. In fact, I'm going to do quite a lot of upgrades to this machine, but we'll see how much we can cram into this video. Okay, the system actually hanged on the first attempt, but on the second try it seems to have worked. Okay, it's counting up the RAM, and it boots without errors. This is awesome. Okay, let's run some benchmarks, see if the machine is stable. So the DX266 is now running at 50 MHz, and it's obviously not officially supported. Well, that is still too slow to play. We're getting a measly 13.9 FPS. So definitely not a Doom machine. But let's see if we can improve this. Let's have a look in SpeedSys next. And the system has recognized the DX2 running at 50 MHz. So no surprises in here. And we've got 8K of level 1 cache. Okay, the next thing I want to try is to see if we can trick the system by leaving the original SX25 in its socket and then adding an ODP in the Overdrive socket. So this is the chip with that extra pin. So if I'm not mistaken, it's going to disable the SX25. I think it's worth a try. Here goes. By the way, I'm keeping that noisy hard drive in the machine because that's where the BIOS settings are stored. I will explain this issue later, and we're going to try to work around it, either in this video or in the upgrade video. But basically, you can't use this machine without a small hard drive installed. At least not without some hacking. And unfortunately, no, it wouldn't be fooled that easily. I didn't even try to read that ref disk. So the crystal on this complex is running at 50 MHz. Divided by 2, it gives the CPU 25 MHz. And then it's doubled again with the DX2. So that's why our DX266 is now running at 50 MHz. So the next obvious thing to try is to put that crystal in a socket. The solder didn't quite come out from one of the through holes. So let's add some fresh solder first. Try again. Okay, I think that cleared the through holes. Let's make sure those pins are loose before we try to pull that crystal off. Using the desoldering needle. No, I think some of the pins are actually still stuck. Yeah, I think they are stuck to the side of the through hole. So I'm gently going to heat up all the pins and push them to the middle of the through hole. Now let's try that again. Yep, that one is loose. This one too. I'm using desoldering needles, by the way, because they are hollow, so they go on top of the pin and down to the through hole. And if all the pins are loose, they will push the crystal off the board. Like so. Let's clean this up. I'm going to use a regular socket and push the pins in the middle out on both sides. So now we can use it as a crystal socket. So all we need to do now is to add some solder to all 4 pins and clean up the flux. Instead of the original crystal, I'm going to go with a 66 MHz crystal. I removed the SX25 and installed the DX2 ODPR66. Okay, fingers crossed. Oh no, the display didn't lead up. Oh crap. This machine isn't posting at all. Oh no, that sucks. Okay, so does this mean that we can't use the ODPR in the left socket? So let's move it to this socket instead. Let's try again. No, unfortunately that's not the issue. We're getting nothing on the panel, which probably means that it's not posting. But I'll wait for a minute just to make sure. Okay, so DX266 is unfortunately the fastest we can go with this specific complex. At least as far as I can tell at the moment. But there is one more thing we need to try, because as far as I know, The DX2 ODPR66 is the same chip as regular DX266, just with a heatsink glued on top of it. So before we move on, let's just try regular DX266. Actually no, this doesn't seem to work. We still have nothing on the display here. I tried the DX266 in the other socket too, but it wouldn't work. So now we're back at the DX2 ODPR, and it seems to be working again. Okay, so apparently that is the chip you need. So not a very fast complex, but at least we got a 30% speed increase. Okay, next I want to try this complex here. So this is a 92F0161, and the complex we have already tried is a 92F0079. These are both Type 2 boards. The only difference I can see is that this board doesn't have an overdrive socket, and the BIOS revision seems to be 1 year newer. So this guy here is a 41G9361 from 1993. I'll start with the CPU that we know works, because this card is untested. Let's flip that switch and see if it works. The BIOS on the previous card, by the way, is from 1992. Okay, and we've got a 169. Processor card change. So it's not recognized as the same complex, even though it looked very similar. I have already installed the crystal in the socket. So let's swap it for a 66 MHz crystal. Now let's see if it behaves differently. Okay, we've got checkpoints. Well, at least something on the display. So definitely a difference. We've got 211CZ. Now what the heck does that mean? Let me check. Well, that appears to be a RAM error, but it's obviously not. This must be caused by the overclocking. So that kind of sucks. This complex won't do 66 MHz either. Okay, back at 50 MHz. Let's try the DX4 next. Okay, DX4. Fingers crossed. Checkpoint 10, 25, 40. This one takes roughly 1 minute, if this actually works. Why does it take so long for this machine to check the video? And it's counting up the RAM with the DX4 installed. This is the most progress we have done so far, so keep your fingers crossed. We've got a 169 and expected processor card change. The automatic configuration program found conflicts with how adapter cards are configured. Go to set configuration window and select view configuration. Okay. Press enter to restart the reference diskettes. Okay, let's just do as we're told to. Man, this thing is slow to post. Okay, and we're stuck at 96-8N1. Okay, and according to Google, if ASCII terminal mode is set, 96-8N1, visible in information panel, the battery voltage must be removed from the planar. ASCII terminal mode will be automatically set by stage 1 posts, if there is no primary video adapter. So apparently, for whatever reason, our graphics card is causing this racket. Okay, I found another XGA2 card that has been tested. I also keep finding parts of the exploded Commodore PET as I look around for parts in the studio. I removed the clock battery as instructed, so let's put it back in. And a known good XGA2 card. Let's put the complex back in without any changes. Try again. Here goes. Checkpoint 2, 10, 25, 40. It's counting the RAM. The system had an error in the battery powered configuration data. Okay, and it reboots. Okay, we've got a 169. Processor card change. Set time and date before running automatic configuration. Automatic configuration is being run. Okay, still have that conflict. We are asked to reboot reference disk again. Oh no! Okay. We got that weird error, but then it continued to post. Okay, it slowly changed from 52 to 53, 56, 62. We've got a 164. Oh, come on, IBM. Give us a win. Oh no. We're back at 96-8N1. Crap. That sucks. I was really hoping this would work. Well, that was a disappointment. So how about an AM5X86? I don't have a way of installing a cooler, since the CPU is going to be hanging upside down, so we can only run it for a few minutes. I did a clear CMOS procedure again by removing the battery. Oh wow, it's just completely dead. That was unexpected. The power supply doesn't spin up. That's nuts. Okay, we're back at the DX266 ODPR. That was a pretty big failure. Never had this before. So the machine wouldn't even power up with the 5x86 installed. That kind of sucks. Okay, I think we have a problem. I don't think we can trust the result we've got with the different CPUs. Because now I'm getting an error with any CPU. So I'm either getting this or an error for a mismatch between the CPU complex and the IML stored on the hard drive. So something is wrong with this machine, and I think it might be the hard drive. Now we can't clear the IML or restore it without getting the machine up and running, and we can't because of that mismatch. So this is not the hard drive I'm planning to use with this machine, but it is a tested drive, and I just want to find the fault right now. This drive is smaller than 4 gigs, and the ID is set to 6. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken here, it should now ask for the ref disk and creates an IML partition on the new drive. And that way we should get rid of the mismatch between the IML and the CPU card. Okay, we've got an error code, and it read something from the diskette. And unfortunately we still get that 96-8N1. So I'll clear CMOS by removing the battery. Okay, so that gave us a new error. Let me check this one. Okay, so that was hard disk IML record load error. So that's perfect. That's what we should have, since we have swapped the hard drive. And then the battery error, because I removed it to clear the CMOS. Man, this machine is really different from other PCs I have worked on. And I have to say that display has been pretty useful so far. And now we've got 0112701U. So what the heck does that mean? But it's reading from the ref disk, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. Oh no, it stopped at that stupid error again. So we need to reset CMOS again, because it couldn't find the XGA2 card. How annoying. So now I wonder if that CPU complex is bad. I replaced the graphics card, the CPU complex, and I did a reset of the CMOS by removing the battery. Let's see what happens now. Just to make sure it's not a bad socket, I resoldered the crystals on both CPU cards. This must be an unusual error code, because I couldn't find anything online. But now it's counting up the RAM, so we're making some kind of progress here. Okay, the error code changed slightly, so now we have a 1127010. Okay, finally some progress. I'm not sure if it was my doing, but I moved the XGA2 card to a different slot, and I removed this adapter here. That presumably is for termination on the SCSI bus. So it now boots from the ref disk. Could just be a coincidence, but now we're in. We can actually troubleshoot this machine. And we are forced to set time and date before we can continue. And unfortunately it hanged again. What the heck is wrong with this machine? I have no choice other than doing forced reboots. Okay, after the reboots, we've got a configuration error, 174. I'm gonna guess this is caused by me moving that XGA2 card. Well, any signs of life is good enough for me at the moment. Let's do an automatic configuration. Okay, configuration complete. So what we need to do is to format that hard drive and install an IML partition. And in that IML partition we can then store the BIOS settings of this machine. Okay, IML error. Excellent. So go to Restore System Programs and select Restore the System Partition. I'm going to hit Ctrl A first. I'll show you why in a second. Remove the reference diskette and insert the diagnostic diskette. And by hitting Ctrl A and swapping the disk, we now get the option of formatting the hard disk. So it's sort of a hidden feature. And here's our 2.1 gig drive at ID 6. Format SCSI hard disk. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Do you want to stop now? No. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. IBM really didn't want us to format the hard drive. Okay, hopefully this will go quick. Well, it wasn't. It was extremely slow. But now it's done. SCSI hard disk format has been complete. So I'm going to exit and exit again. You're leaving the testing program. So let's swap back to the ref disk. Okay, with the IML completely cleared, let's install DX4 ODPR in the CPU complex. Okay, with the ref disk in the drive, let's turn the machine on and see if we can make this work. Okay, I skipped ahead here a bit. It slowly moved through the checkpoints. We now have an IML error, as expected, of course. Okay, now we're in. Processor card change. Let's hit yes and hope for the best. Automatic configuration is being run. SCSI devices are being configured. Automatic configuration program found conflicts with how your adapter cards are configured. Go to the set configuration window, then select view configuration. Okay, so why do I have a conflict? This is a bit weird. The only cards I have installed now is an XGA2 card and a SCSI controller. An error occurred during automatic configuration, and the configuration was not successfully completed. Okay. And after the reboot, unfortunately, we're back at 96-8N1, which means it couldn't find a way of showing the graphics on the display. So this kind of implies that we have a conflict between the ODPR and the graphics card, which is really weird. Not sure what to make of this. So I found an IBM SVGA card in my stash. Let's give it a try, see if anything changes. Okay, here goes. No, that didn't help. I cleared that error by removing the battery, but after a reboot with the SVGA card, we got that error again. Crap. Okay, in that case, let's try with an ODP in the complex with 2 slots. No, this doesn't give me anything on the display, so this was even worse. Okay, I have spent hours and hours, and I've tried everything I can think of without success. So I reached out to the guys at Ardent and I got some advice. So apparently these boards can be a bit picky with a weak battery. I think this battery is okay, but I removed it anyways. And then there's also this jumper here, J16. So if we move it, we will force the system to boot from the ref disk. Then I'm going to install a brand new coin cell. Let's give this a try. Okay, the ODPR installed in the machine again. I have also replaced the SCSI controller while troubleshooting the system. So now the machine has a Spock installed. Okay, it's posting and counting up the RAM. Oh crap, wrong disk in the drive. So we're gonna have to reboot. But at least it tried, so that's a progress. We're in. Processor card changed. Now let's choose no here and see what happens. Let's go with set configuration and change configuration. Now this is strange. 1 MB VRAM has been disabled on the XGA2 card. That's a bit odd, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. Otherwise nothing odd here. But let's try to just save in here and reboot the machine. And now we're getting a 20314, but then the system continues to read from the ref disk. Okay, we've got a memory size error. What the heck? That doesn't make any sense. I haven't touched those RAMs. Okay, let's try an automatic configuration. The automatic configuration program found conflicts with how your adapter cards are configured. Okay, so we're back at this. We've got a memory error again, so I'm gonna hit no and go to set configuration. This machine is so different from all other systems I have worked on. And view configuration. We still have 32 megs. But then down here we've got installed memory 0. So what the heck is this all about? But we don't have any conflicts. So that's a bit odd. Let's go back and try run automatic configuration again. And it still thinks we have a conflict. Oh crap. And we're back at this stupid error again. I have a feeling we have a messed up IML or possibly a hard drive. So I'm gonna clear the CMOS again and force the system to boot from the ref disk. Okay, I put J16 back to normal. Let's see how it behaves. I cleared the CMOS and did a reboot. And I'm just getting back to this error here. I've done this a couple of times now, and it's not helping. Well, I'm running out of time and things to try. But I still have this loaner that I haven't returned yet, so this is an original Trinity power stacker that converts the board's 5 volts to the correct voltage for a 5x86. So let's give this guy a try. I'm gonna go with a freshly tested 5x86. We can only do a brief test because I can't attach heatsink. And I can't just put something on top of it either because it's going to hang upside down. Okay, CMOS cleared again. Fingers crossed. Okay, it's posting. That chip is cold. I don't think it's gonna get very hot unless we start a game. I just realized I can hold that heatsink in place with a thermal pad in between. That should be good enough for a brief test. And unfortunately no. We're back at this stupid error again. So that didn't work. Okay, after this boot I briefly got a memory error. And then back to the stupid error. So is all of this racket caused by a bad RAM chip? In that case I'm going to remove some RAM and see if that error goes away. Okay, I removed all but 2 RAM sticks. And that actually got us past that weird error. So we're now in. But after the reboot, we're back at this stupid thing. I'll swap the 2 RAM sticks and try with these 2 instead. Okay, I tried with 2 different sticks and we'll still get that same error. So this is not likely caused by bad RAM. Okay, so the system works until we get this error here. The system had an error in the battery-powered configuration data. Press enter to attempt to restore the configuration and continue using the system. So if I press enter, the machine will reboot and then we'll get that stupid error. So how about if we try to hit escape? Okay, so then it prompts us to do an automatic configuration. Quick reference does not have a battery removal procedure. Have the system unit serviced. Well, I'm not going to send it off to IBM. So let's continue. Set time and date before running automatic configuration. Okay. Automatic configuration is being run. Configuration program complete. Press enter to restart. Now this is interesting. The machine would boot to the ref disk. So what the heck does this mean? Man, this machine is so weird. There's so much weird stuff to learn about this system. Well, I guess we could start DOS. See what happens. So I'll remove the ref disk and hit enter. Yeah, look at this. Now the system works. So that weird error seems to have been caused by the system trying to restore after a battery failure. What a weird issue. Okay, well in that case, let's go for the DX4 again. Here goes. Okay, we've got expected. Processor card changed. Automatically configure. Yes. Automatic configuration program found conflicts with how your adapter cards are configured. And the conflicts are supposed to be marked, but when we checked, they're not. So annoying. And after the reboot, we're back at this stupid thing. Well, there's actually one more thing we can try. I have installed an SX25 in the machine, so now it's working normally. So let's go to update system programs. Warning, you're about to write over the system program residing in the system partition. So if I'm not mistaken, it's going to clear the IML and rewrite it on the disk. So if we have an issue with the IML, this should solve it. Let's give this a try. Update of the system program files is complete. Okay, just a quick check to make sure the system is running normally. Now let's try with the DX4 again. Okay, processor card changed. Let's configure. No. Same damn error. Crap. So the conflict should be marked with an asterisk if we go to change configuration, but it's not. I spent the entire week troubleshooting this stupid issue. If you have any thoughts on what more we could try, then please share. I'm not going to make a second video about this specific issue, but I will include some more troubleshooting in the upgrade video. If you're watching this next week, there will be a link to that video on the screen here. If you're watching this fresh, hit the bell icon below and set it to all to get a notification from YouTube when the next video is out. I will end by saying thank you to my patrons. I appreciate your support. If you want to support me too, consider becoming a patron. Patrons get ad-free early access. If you like this video, despite the lack of progress, let me know with a thumbs up and a comment. If you're a regular viewer, consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.